In October 1989, 43 women around the world gave birth. None of these women had been pregnant when the day first began.
The age of superheroes has delivered all sorts of classic tales and characters to the big and little screen. But another part of this genre is the lesser-known heroes, or anti-superhero stories that have been gaining steam and popularity because they're very atypical. One of them is The Boys by Garth Ennis, and the other is on Netflix, Gerard Way's The Umbrella Academy. The beloved show about an adopted family of superheroes has made a big splash over its first 2 seasons. And there were plenty of Easter eggs in those seasons for those willing to pay attention. Allow us to show you the top 10 Easter eggs of The Umbrella Academy. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 10. The Neck and the Turtleneck. One of the biggest moments of the first season by far was when Vanya finds out that Allison used her rumor-influencing powers to make Vanya think she wasn't special when she was a child, thus hiding her powers for decades to come. When the truth was revealed, Vanya was naturally furious, and when Allison tried to use her powers again to calm her sister down, it led to Vanya slicing her neck, rendering her voice mute for some time, as we'd find out. The Easter egg, though, comes when number 5 jumped forward into the future. When we see Allison among the rubble, she's wearing a black turtleneck that covers her whole neck. That's significant because after Vanya cut her, she had to put a bandage on her neck. So if the turtleneck was there to conceal the bandage, that's why number 5 didn't try and warn Allison about what might happen to her throat, as well as warn viewers that something was going to happen to her. Number 9. The Umbrella Man. Jumping now to Season 2, you might find it curious that one of the key elements of the plotline was actually 100% historically accurate in a certain way. You see, the Academy is thrown for a loop when they find photographs of an Umbrella Man standing near the spot where JFK was going to be assassinated. They realize that the Umbrella Man is their father, and the question became whether he was responsible for the death of JFK. They were half right, technically. Anyway, the key thing to know here is that the man with the umbrella was there on the day of the JFK assassination. He had his umbrella open on a perfectly sunny day, and people thought he might have been in on the plot, even saying he was the signal man for the sniper. In 1978, a man called Louis Stephen Witt stepped forward as the Umbrella Man, claiming it was a rather odd political protest inspired by the Kennedy family's historic association with British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain. So while the conspiracy was debunked, that Easter egg is far beyond what you expected, right? Number 8. The Golden Face. There are certain details that are indeed Easter eggs, if you know where to look. If you go to the family mealtime room scenes, as well as certain other parts of the house, you're going to see a kind of golden wallpaper with a golden face appearing in certain spots. If that notion triggers something in your mind, that's because in the final episode of Season 1, we get a glimpse into Reginald Hargreeves' former life, and the house that he lived in with his partner had that same wallpaper and golden face. We've seen in Seasons 1 and 2 that he was very attached to that partner, and kept as much from her as he could, and clearly that design choice for the house was an example of that. Number 7. Jack Ruby. We noted before that the historical accuracy of the second season of Umbrella Academy was more than you thought it was, and that included the arrival of Jack Ruby, aka Luther's boss and infamous leader of the underworld in that part of Texas. You might think that them saying he was a part of the plot in regards to JFK was a little nod to history, but you'd be wrong. He is indeed a real shady businessman, one who was never afraid to bribe cops with all sorts of things, in order to keep them looking away from his businesses. Plus, he really was the guy who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, and to this day, no one is really sure why. Ruby claimed grief over the assassination had driven him to a state of psychomotor epilepsy, in which he shot Oswald unconsciously. Though you have to question that because why would he feel grief over a president he didn't really know? Unless he did know him. Either way, at the end of Season 2, we see him starting to get ready to do the deed he would be known for, and you can't blame Luther for trying to stop him. Number 6. The Tent. The relationship, and lack thereof, in regards to Luther and Allison, has a key dynamic in both Season 1 and Season 2 of the show, and no doubt will come up again in Season 3, which has been confirmed to be coming. One of their biggest moments, though, was when they came together to relax in a tent in their home to try and get away from their father and just be alone. Naturally, it was interrupted, but the Easter egg lies in the tent itself. If you look closely at it, and then go to the Hargreeves scene in the season finale when he's with his partner and releasing that jar of lights, you'll notice that the tent is shaped like the rockets that are flying away. and the tent is lit with lights that very much resemble what Hargreeves had in that jar. Number 5. Who is Reginald Hargreeves? There's a lot about Reginald Hargreeves that is known in the world of both the show and the comics. But for those who never read the comics, the belief that he was not human was teased in various ways, including the season finale with the partner and rocket scene mentioned earlier. In Season 2, when the Majestic 12 spurned Hargreeves after they killed JFK, he decides to not let them live and reveals, to them anyway, his true form before killing him. In the comics, this is accurate. Reginald Hargreeves is a lizard-like alien that isn't afraid to get his hands dirty when the need arises. Though how much we'll learn about him in Season 3 is a mystery we have to wait to solve, the fact that we know he's not from Earth and that he has plans for the dark side of the moon proves that there's plenty of story ahead. Number 4. All the Umbrella references. There are obvious jokes and running gags you can put in all sorts of shows, but for something called the Umbrella Academy, it would be odd to not do a bunch of things with umbrellas. And sure enough, in both Season 1 and Season 2, there are umbrella references out the wazoos. From the title card sequences, to the architecture of Hargreeves Manor, to the uniforms and more, you're going to find a lot of umbrellas. Even some of the scenes are framed so that they can be in the shape of an umbrella. Go and look for that the next time you do a run-through. Number 3. The Televator. In Season 2, after getting tips from Diego that her boss and partner wasn't who she thought he was, Grace goes and breaks into his secret room and observes all the things he has in there. Among the scribbling is details for the Televator, labeled as the next great mode of transportation. In the comics, this is something Hargreeves was working on, and it was something that would allow him to travel through time and space. He finished it in the comics, but did he get the time to finish it in the show? Given his current status in the new timeline, it is possible. Number 2. The White Violin. In the finale for Season 1, Vanya's powers and personality become manifest in the worst way possible. She kills Pogo, brings down the Academy, literally, and then goes on to fight her family at the concert she worked so hard to be a part of. A key part of that performance was when her clothes go white. That's a reference to her codename in the comics, the White Violin. Of course, in the comics, her form is much more, comic-esque. Basically, her body becomes a humanoid violin. Look up pictures, you'll see what we mean. Anyway, the show toned down their exaggerated comic looks, and this was a perfect example of playing homage to it, while not going fully accurate for various reasons. Number 1. The Sparrow Academy. Finally, and ironically, we end the Easter eggs with the cliffhanger for Season 2. After battling the Commission, ensuring the assassination of JFK, despite Diego's best efforts, and getting a chance to return to the future, the Umbrella Academy find out that their plan worked. Kind of. They did return home, which was back up and running, and the moon was fine. But it wasn't the Umbrella Academy anymore, it was the Sparrow Academy. Here's the thing. In the comics, the Sparrow Academy weren't another group of kids. They were villains the Umbrella Academy beat and Hargreeves sealed away in a floating space cube. Anyone notice the green cube next to the kids when they were revealed? Yep. So, what did you think? What do you think of this look at the Umbrella Academy and everything that was put in it to surprise and tease fans? Do you remember seeing some of these Easter eggs as you watched the seasons? Which one surprised you in regards to you not seeing them? Or do you know of ones that we didn't get to put in this list? Let us know in the comments below, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.